he gets sick, like terminally sick. I think it was like tuberculosis or something like that. And he dies. He dies in his crummy little dark room, cold and alone. And that bright moment of happiness was just ripped away from him.
That's like the classic tragedy, right? Like it takes you, it introduces the thing that this guy is going to be like something bigger, and it's like all super happy, but then it like kind of rips it away from you, right?
Yeah.
That's what,
man, that gets me.
That's
that gets
what makes
me so hard.
That's what makes it like a good story, like good art, right? Is that like it makes you feel something, right? Now, I don't know. I feel like it's one of the reasons I love Berserk is I legit have never in my life read or been invested in characters that I've read in that manga.
Can you explain Berserk for the uninitiated, myself included?
Sure. It's a Japanese manga that started in the early 90s by this kind of indie Japanese cartoonist, just animator to start off with. And it follows, you can think of this, the setting is medieval Europe, kind of Witcher, not Witcher style, but Witcher time period. So swords, bows and arrows, and there's some supernatural aspect to it. And it follows this one kid that grew up in a band of mercenaries, and something he thought that he could not form familial bonds or friends, but then suddenly he joins in this group and he's like the most badass fighter ever. Like he trains every single day. Your classic, like, you know,
glow up story, right?
Yeah, exactly. But he's like super kind of cold, but this is like his tribe that he kind of works with. And it does really well to build up that type of character. Something happens where he loses all of these people, right?
Oh, okay.
And in the most like potentially horrific way I've seen in all movies, TV shows, books ever. Like really, really horrific. Like I read that and I just put it down and I was like,
I've seen some clips in the early days. I've seen some clips from Berserk, and I'm like, wow, people want to watch that. It looks gross,
dude. But I mean, that's what is attractive to me, is because I have never seen anything so dark. And okay, so it's not just dark; it's beautiful, like beautifully animated, all by hand. Like, and he's dead now, R.I.P. But like the author, but you can tell that every single frame is like a movie shot.
Was he from the generation that survived the nuclear explosion?
No, I think he was like, I want to say like in his 20s when he wrote it. And like, okay. So he was just like really original, really, really, really original. And, you know, so it follows this character and then suddenly you realize there's demons coming from places. So that adds this supernatural thing to it. And it's like the classic story of a human. Take your Batman, for example. He doesn't have any superpowers.
Yeah.
But he's trained to such a degree and, you know, has the equipment. You know, they have the classic, like, monk in the mountain who's his blacksmith that he goes and visits. And, you know, bequeaths him, like, some sword. And then he can go and fight demons.
There's a meme on Elden Ring community that if you have if you cosplayed your character as a Berserk guy, you know, big sword, black armor, they will summon you and kick you just to waste your time. Because like there's so many people that like that stuff.
Sure, but let me ask you, Final Fantasy, when did that come out?
Oh, geez, I don't know. It's like 90s?
Cool, because I read somewhere, and I cannot confirm this, right, that Final Fantasy copied this from Berserk. The OG, oversized, there's no way a man or a woman can handle this sword, came from Berserk.
Oh,
so Elden Ring, Berserk, I don't know what else has copied it. Final Fantasy, but that's unconfirmed. All copied this one guy because it was so original. It's going to add this like Japanese, kind of like same as the Souls games. Like the monsters are like kind of not they are horrific, but disturbing to look at. Like they have eyes and body parts and places that should not exist. And it kind of, you look at it and like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, some body horror.
Yeah. And that is also in the mangas as well. And you're just like, okay, this is definitely like an R-rated.
Interesting.
It's amazing.
Then you have to wonder like how much that dude I mean, he didn't draw it as well either, right?
Yeah, he did. He
did? He drew it and
everything.
wrote it?
He started off as
So he was like a full-on mangaka, like doing his own thing.
Yes, he
Wow.
started off handing not this exact story, but like the predecessor of it. He started handing it out in schools, and he
Oh,
became
snap.
famous in his school. Then he started off like an indie company with like his best friend, and he designed all of the frames himself, drew it by ink, designed the story, everything himself. Then it became super famous. But then also, which is why I respect him a lot as well, is that he used to take like 2 or 3 years hiatuses between like each manga series.
What do you think? There's so many memes about dads sharing a copy of Berserk with their sons.
I think it's the same as why dads would show their sons something like Gladiator or like potentially like Lord of the Rings and be like, look at Aragon, or like, look at this.
Right.
There are some aspects of especially the Berserk character or something like Gladiator where you're like, there's like a man figure that you should try and look up to growing up as. Like, it's like what you were saying about like the classic story that all boys dream of is like, you must overcome some big challenge by yourself, and then at the end you return like the same. I feel like Berserk is more fucked up, and I wouldn't advise my son, if I ever have a son, to follow that exact trajectory. But I don't know. It's like there are a lot of aspects of that character that are super like loyalty, bravery, the sense of like looking after like the people around you is like super, super good. At the end of the day, these are just stories you're reading, and it's to some degree, most of them end at like a happy ending. But
is there a happy ending in Berserk?
no, well, it's not really over yet, but
It's still going?
The guy died, and then basically his partner has to take over writing it.
Oh.
And it's still going, and it's still really, really good.
Oh, I thought it was like a complete
Nope.
item.
Still going. But I think it's, dude, imagine being that guy's partner. You've made like such a cult classic thing, and you're like, just don't fuck up.
Finish Game
don't
of
fuck
Thrones
up.
for him.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think again that's another reason why I like Berserk, because it's again, I hate saying the word real, but it feels more real than
Grounded, right?
More grounded because
Even though it has demons.
exactly,
Yeah.
same as Star Wars. It feels more real, but it's in space.
Right.
My meaning is like there are some. It's very, very well written in the sense it's romantic or romanticized where it needs to be.
Well, I think that's why Game of Thrones was so popular as well. It was basically D&D,
Yeah.
but people felt human, very human.
Yes. They don't seem fake.
Women in power still behave just as shitty as men do.
No.
Like, wow, that must be human nature. When you
Yeah.
get handed unlimited power, you're gonna do some shitty things.
Exactly. And you got dragons, you got ice zombies in it as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And again, that's why something like that is. And again, so let me ask you a question: is like, would you want to be like in Game of Thrones?
Oh, hell no.
So there you go, right?
Hell no. Like,
You're probably going to be like,
No, I'm probably gonna end up being some peasant or maybe a merchant's son who gets killed by a pirate somewhere on
100%.
nowhere. Yeah,
That is more realistic than half of like the kind of romanticized fantasy novels that are written, right?
Yeah.
So it's very easy to read these romanticized novels and think like Gladiator, right? Like you watch Gladiator and you're like, oh yeah, I wish I could be this character where you die honorably. And if that was us in Gladiator and that was real, the opening scene where they're fighting the Gauls, you'd probably just be dead in like 2 minutes and then that's it.
Have you ever read any stories or seen any media where you start off with this character or you follow this character who is basically a nobody and they still die a nobody? Like there's no grand adventure or anything like that.
That's a good question. I don't think I have, to be honest. Like NPC characters, not really.
I can think of one.
Tell me.
Non-game related. It's an old novel. I think it's Russian, and it's about this poor, like low-level clerk, and he has this like old jacket. Like an overcoat. He has this like really old overcoat, and he gets bullied at work a little bit, by his teammates, and they're like, "Oh, look at you! Like he has holes and stuff. He's eaten by bugs, and all this kind of." And then he saves up for months, and then he finally buys himself like a nice jacket. So he buys this overcoat, and then he goes to work, and instantly he's like, "Hey, good on ya! you know, and it's already like getting winter months, you know, so it's getting cold, and he's like, I'm so happy I have this jacket. I'm getting like more respect from my colleagues. And then he gets invited to a dinner. It's like, holy hell, I'm going to a function. He goes to this function, he drinks a little bit, he's happy, he's as happy as he ever was. And then he goes home on this cold wintry night. He gets mugged. They beat him, they steal his jacket. Sorry, I'm gonna tear up a little bit. I don't know why. He gets to me. He gets to me. My mother told me this story, read me this story when I was young, and it really stuck with me.
Yeah.
And he gets mugged. He gets sick, like terminally sick. I think it was like tuberculosis or something like that. And yeah, he dies. He dies in his crummy little dark room, cold and alone. And that bright moment of happiness was just ripped away from him.
That's like the classic tragedy, right? Like it takes you. It introduces the thing that this guy is going to be like something bigger, and it's like all super happy, but then it like kind of rips it away from you, right?
Yeah, fuck.
That's what,
man, that gets me.
That's
that gets
what makes
me so hard.
That's what makes it like a good story, like good art, right? Is that like it makes you feel something, right? I think what is getting produced now that really like makes you feel or has like an emotional reaction like that. Like it's, again, that's such a simple story, right? It can have have that emotional effect on you, and you just told like a 2-minute story of it, right?
Yeah.
So again, like not everything has to be happy ending, but it's about telling the if you had just said it's a lowly clerk and he gets bullied at the office and he goes back home and then he falls down, gets sick and dies, that wouldn't have the same impact, right?
Yeah, it's more like lol.
Yeah, it's about like
it's an NPC death.
Oh, then he gets better and he gets bigger and then he gets happy, and you believe that he's going to make it out okay. It's going to be all good, and then he doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like Shakespeare though, right? Like Macbeth or like any of these like Greek tragedies. Yeah, again, that's I don't know, do they have any stories like that anymore? Like what you just described?
Imagine that as a game. You'd be like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, exactly. Emotional roller coaster. Complete emotional roller coaster.
No, they would be like, no leveling up, no nothing. Like everything I just did was pointless.
Yeah. Hey, but maybe there's a story behind that. Like you try your hardest and then you have to accept that you're just going to die on the street getting beaten up and shit like that.
Which can happen to everyone.
Yeah. But legit, you should start reading Berserk.
Fair enough.
I know it's some meme and stuff, but it just read it. I think I was lucky because I was introduced it to my friend, this crazy French guy called Joad. He trains the UFC fighters in Shanghai for kickboxing. It's like 6'5", built like a Greek god, and he has a very good taste in like.
I think I can take him.
Let's hope he does not hear that because he will come. Yeah, he was like, dude, you have to check this out. It's my favorite thing. And like at heart, I'm like super goth. Like I like these really dark, like demonic, like not happy type shit. And I started reading it, and legit, like I said, the best piece of art / media that I've done. And I think that if I had known it had turned into such a meme, that's why I'm kind of happy I live in this bubble where I don't really kind of interact with like the sort of social media or like mini cultural like environments to know that it's like such a meme. But if I think I'd found out that it was like a meme, I don't think I'd have read it.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Fair enough.
But all I would say is give it a chance, and it's amazing. Super, super good.
Nice.